Humanity has always been on a journey toward the unknown, toward what has yet to be discovered. But what happens when this journey extends from the Earth to the sky? What secrets lie in the depths of space? And perhaps most importantly, what consequences will humanity face as it tries to leave its mark in this infinite void? On a hot summer day in 1962, under the bright blue sky of Hawaii, one of the most extraordinary experiments in world history was about to take place. This secret project, known as Operation Fishbowl, aimed to test the potential of using space as a battlefield during the most tense periods of the Cold War. However, this experiment would produce results that even scientists could not have predicted. The nuclear test, named Starfish Prime, was conducted at an altitude of about 400 kilometers. A 1.4 megaton hydrogen bomb was detonated at an unprecedented height. But why was such a dangerous experiment carried out? The US government wanted to understand the effects of a potential nuclear war in space. However, this experiment would trigger an unexpected series of events. At the moment the bomb exploded, the sky seemed to catch fire. A bright light became visible from thousands of kilometers away, even on distant islands. The sky transformed into a light show, dancing with red, green, and blue colors. However, behind this magnificent spectacle lay a horrifying truth. The electromagnetic pulse, EMP, created by the explosion was far beyond what scientists had predicted. Streetlights in Honolulu suddenly went out, and telecommunication systems collapsed. Even electrical grids hundreds of kilometers away were affected by these powerful waves. But what about the effects in space? Here is where the real surprise emerged. The artificial radiation belts created by the explosion altered the Earth's magnetosphere. These belts persisted for months and affected satellites in space. Several satellites in orbit at the time lost functionality due to this radiation. Humanity had begun to pollute space with its own hands. This experiment demonstrated that space is a much more sensitive ecosystem than we had thought. What about the future? What could happen if humanity continued to use space as a battlefield? These questions deeply affected scientists and politicians. The results of Starfish Prime prompted the international community to take action. In 1963, the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty was signed. This treaty prohibited nuclear tests in the atmosphere, in space, and underwater. However, underground tests were still allowed. Humanity had recognized the danger it had created and had taken a step back. But what were the long-term effects of this experiment? Years later, scientists continued to study the unexpected results of Starfish Prime. How had the artificial radiation belts created by the explosion affected the Earth's natural Van Allen belts? How did this event contribute to our understanding of space weather? Starfish Prime represented a dark chapter in the space age. As humanity's technological power grew, it became clear that this power needed to be used responsibly. Space was no longer just a place to be explored, it was also an area that needed to be protected. This event also shaped the future of space research. Scientists began to advocate for the peaceful use of space. Space stations, satellites, and space research programs were developed with this new perspective in mind. However, the legacy of Starfish Prime was not limited to scientific and political realms. The event also influenced popular culture. Science fiction writers drew inspiration from this experiment to create new stories. Movies and television shows explored the potential consequences of nuclear explosions in space. And what about today? More than half a century has passed since Starfish Prime, but its lessons remain relevant. Issues such as space debris, the safety of satellite technologies, and the militarization of space are still on the agenda. Humanity must act more carefully and responsibly as it explores and utilizes space. Starfish Prime was a turning point in humanity's relationship with space. This event highlighted the potential dangers of technological advancement. At the same time, it emphasized the importance of international cooperation. Space began to be seen not as the exclusive domain of a single country or group, but as the shared heritage of all humanity. This experiment also brought important discussions about scientific ethics. Scientists began to evaluate the possible outcomes of their research more carefully. The distinction between possible and should became a topic of greater debate within the scientific community. One of the most important legacies of Starfish Prime is its contribution to space weather studies. This event helped us understand how the Earth's magnetosphere and ionosphere work. Valuable information was obtained about the effects of solar storms and radiation levels in space. However, despite all these scientific gains, the environmental impacts of Starfish Prime have not yet been fully understood. What long-term effects might the changes created by the explosion in the upper layers of the atmosphere have had on the climate? This question remains one of the topics current scientists are still investigating. Today, space research is entering a new era. The entry of private companies into the space race, plans to send humans to Mars, and deep space explorations are on the agenda. However, the lessons of Starfish Prime are still valid. Humanity must behave more cautiously and responsibly as it explores and utilizes space. Starfish Prime showed us how sensitive and complex a system space is. This event continues to remind future generations of the importance of space and our responsibility to protect it. As humanity advances into the depths of space, it must not forget the lessons of the past and must consider these lessons while shaping the future.